That's when he's most concerned about Lynwood's speed.
Indeed, our own Eddie Van Geis had an opportunity to speak with the head coach of the Lynwood Knights, Jim Chambers, prior to today's game.
The coach of Lynwood, Coach Jim Chambers. You're 1-2 right now, Jim. What do you tell your guys before the game here at Millikan this evening?
We're facing a team who's 4-0, well coached. They're confident. We're playing at their place. We need to take it one day at a time and just take it to them. We'll find out what kind of we'll find out what kind of team they are tonight. We're looking forward to the matchup.
Last year, you guys were behind most of that game. What a comeback in the fourth quarter.
Actually, we were ahead most of the game. They got their touchdown with about a minute 21 seconds left, and we came back to win with no timeouts, with 1:21 left in the clock.
Thanks for straightening me out. I guess I got Millikan information on that one. How do you describe your team? Offense first, then defense?
Offense, we'll take anything they give us. Any one of our plays can be a big play. We want to move the ball consistently. Defensively, we want to attack. We want to, if we have to, just establish ourselves defensively and just cause some chaos.
Finally, what's the key? What's the main thing you have to do to come away with a victory this evening?
Play our game. We can't get caught up into the band, the 100,000 players they have out here. They can only play with 11. Our kids need to just come up, stay focused, remember what they're coached to do, and just come out and play football and leave it on the field. That's the one thing we want to do. We want to leave it on the field.
Good luck, Coach.
Thank you very much. We'll probably need it.
Thanks a lot.
Well, there's no doubt the Lynwood Knights would like to turn things around before they begin San Gabriel Valley League play. The Millikan Rams, on the other hand, hope nobody wakes them up. They just keep on playing the way they've been playing.
Well, if they do, they will probably be undefeated going into the Moore League. The Moore League will be tough for them. But as for tonight's football game, or at least of the previous four, they have spread the ball around, Willie. Their tailbacks have scored. Each of their wide receivers have scored. Boudreaux has really Beaudry has really run the team real well, and his percentage in passing and interception rate is low. So we can see a balanced attack, and actually not an aggressive team defensively. They're more of a reading team, and their linebackers make the play. So I think Tony Peralta can be happy that he has an experienced bunch of guys that's winning, and the attitude is picking up on this football team.
In fact, to show the maturation of this Ram team, the teams that they've beaten to become 4-0 this season were the same teams that were beating them up last year. So really a great accomplishment for the head coach of the Millikan Rams. That's Tony Peralta. And our own Eddie Van Geis had an opportunity to speak with Tony prior to today's game.
Coach Tony Peralta, your Millikan Rams, 4-0. What a difference over a year ago. And it's your fourth year of coaching. Things couldn't have worked out any better.
Well, we believe we're on schedule with what we planned on doing. And it's never easy a process to build a program and start from scratch and institute a new offense, new defense, new schemes, a new whole way of doing things. And it takes time to build a house, and we feel like we've laid the foundation, we put up the frame, and now it's time to put some paint on the walls, and it's about time.
It's been a long time since Millikan started out this way. How long has it been?
Well, back in '86, I was on that staff. Coach Raffer was Coach of the Year. We had a great year. Went to the playoffs, beat St. Paul in the first round, and that was the last time we'd been this far undefeated, and we hope to do the same 10 years later.
What do you have to do tonight to beat this team from Lynwood?
Well, Lynwood's a talented team, probably the most talented team that we've seen so far as athletes go. And tonight's going to be a good measuring stick for us because this is very much like the Moore League teams that we will face. So we're really gauging on containing their speed, controlling their quarterback and his scrambling ability, and being able to cover some really quality receivers. That's the key for us tonight.
What's 4-0 in football due to the spirit of this school?
Oh, it changes everything. Tonight's faculty night, and we believe we got a great football program. We got a great band just marched by, and we believe we have the best faculty in Long Beach. And it just changes the attitude, the spirit of the school, the attitude of the school, and we're just pleased to be part of that.
Good luck tonight, Coach.
Thank you very much.
Well, Errol, as that famed prognosticator Gene Dixon would know, Aries and the sign of the Ram is an early season holiday or an early season sign. And the Rams, the Millikan Rams, don't want to be an early season team only. They want to play the first 5 to win the next 5.
Absolutely, and this is tonight a big test for them because they'll see a similar type of team to some of the teams that they have to win or beat in the Moore League. But the key tonight is all going to boil down to the team that makes the fewest mistakes. I agree with you, Willie. Time of possession means nothing in this football game because Lynwood can strike early. Millikan is more of a grind-out team. But the team that makes the less mistakes will probably win tonight's football game.
Well, there you have it. All the pregame prognostication is over. It's time to play football. My name is Willie Padilla. Along with me, Errol Parker and Eddie Van Geis. Stay with us. The Knights and Rams coming up next. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. We come to you from the campus of Millikan High School as the Rams playing host to the Lynwood Knights out of the St. Gabriel Valley League. And for the Rams, this will be their second shot at an SGVL team. To begin the 1996 campaign, the Rams opened up at Warren High School, a team they defeated, and part of the fireworks for the Rams that evening were 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns. And so that makes this opening kickoff all the more intriguing as the Rams will receive. But this kickoff about a few yards south of Spring. Good kick for Lynwood as the Rams will come out and take over on the 20. Dan Beaudry, the quarterback. The backs in the backfield, Josh Jordan and DeAndre Grant. Receivers, Garcia, Weller, and Moore, and the offensive line, Masterakis, Murphy, Hernandez, Tomlin, and Paramke.
Well, we'll see Daniel Beaudry for the Millikan Rams. He has commanded this team real well for the first 4 games, Willie. He's a 12th grader. He's a senior, 5'9", 17 years old, 155 pounds. And he went to Stevens Middle School and St. Anthony's Elementary School to start off his elementary and middle school career.
And as I thought when we were reading through the offensive linemen, it's Paramaki, not Paramke. So Dan Paramaki rounds out that offensive line, and I use the term round out loosely. So 5-yard or 15-yard penalty to open up the game as Beaudry calls his own number and picks up 7 on the first down and 10 play after the 15-yard mark-off. The defense looks like this. Jerome Dowley, Ken Roger, and Ken Roten for the Knights in the secondary. Greg Meloto, Eamon Aono, and Isaac Aono. Jason Moore, Thaddeus Lomax, and Yancey Faatozilia.
Better you than me, Willie, on that one.
Oh, yeah. The carry by Anderson, and he picks up a first down for the Rams. Or that was 31 rather, not 21. So that would be DeAndre Grant.
We will not see Josh Jordan tonight. He will not be playing. And for the Knights, Vallejo, their fine running back, will not be playing. He's injured.
First down and 10. First pass play, and that pass incomplete, intended for Josh Weller, but well out of his reach. Let's go down to Eddie Van Geist, who's got a report.
Willie and Errol, earlier in the week, Steve Irvine in the Press Telegram wrote about an interesting twist in this game. I guess we could call it the family feud. It involves a couple of players on Millikan, Rocky and Junior Taufi, and their cousin who plays for Lynwood. He is Yancey Fatalio. Now, normally they wouldn't go head-to-head because they all play defense. But when Jesse Vallejo was injured, the star running back for Lynwood, well, guess who's going to be a tailback tonight sometimes? It'll be Yancey Fatalia. So these cousins are going to go head-to-head. They're very excited about it. What can I say? I've heard of kissing cousins, but smash mouth cousins? Let's go back upstairs.
Gabe Anderson this time does get the carry, and he picks up just a yard. So that'll be 3rd down and 9 coming up after the incomplete and the 1-yard run. So a 3rd and long for the Rams. First time they've been in this situation in this ball game. This is the opening series.
Tony Peralta told me yesterday when I interviewed him, Willie, that he's going to try to keep that speedy Lynwood offense off the field as much as possible because they are capable of big plays. And last year was an example of that when Millikan was leading the football game late in the 4th quarter, and the Knights came up with a 70-yard drive capped by a 25-yard touchdown pass to beat the Rams.
That was a year ago. This year, the Rams have been outstanding against teams that gave them problems a year ago. The reverse, very close to a first down as Kyle Moore gets tripped up. I believe just shy. Nice defensive play. I believe it was Kenny Roger on that side, and Moore a little shaken up. Watch the play again.
It's just a kind of double reverse here. Actually, a fake motion in the backfield is a nice cut, almost a clip over there by number 53, Jason Murphy. but it was a nice open field tackle.
That's using your head to the extreme. And the Rams come up short, 4th and a yard. The Rams are in Lynwood territory, and they're going to come out going for it on 4th and 1. And that's the kind of confidence a 4-0 record builds.
Especially you have a very nice offensive line that's been healthy for the first time since the Warren game.
And Beaudry calls his own number and gets stuffed at the line. I don't think he got it. If he did, he would have gotten his forward progress. Hitting him immediately was Greg Meloto. And I don't think there's any way. Beaudry hesitated for a second, waiting for a hold to develop, and it's sealed immediately. Watch Meloto.
Meloto just came right in there from his linebacking position to stuff Beaudry.
Well, he played one of those psych games. He let the hole open, and when Beaudry chose it, he came in and closed it and said psych and brought Beaudry down. And here comes Lynwood for their first offensive series, led by Thomas Aragon at quarterback. Sutton and Fatos Leah is the backfield. Iono, Dali, Kenny, Roger, the receivers, LaFleur, Lomax, Gonzalez, Moore, and Polai.
That Jason Moore is a good one, number 71. You can see him at both ends of the ball, Willie. They are recruiting him from all the likes of SC, Notre Dame, and all the big-time teams in this country. He's a good one.
First and 10, and the Knights get it with excellent field position at the 43. A flag's down. That possibly will be motion, and immediately the Knights try to go to their speed as they pass it to the wingback coming out, Sutton, and Sutton wrapped up immediately. The tackle made by Sean Smith. Now we'll check the flag. If there's no gain, the Rams may choose to decline.
One of the things that has been killing the Knights there have been penalties.
So 2 men in motion on the Knights as the Rams defense holds. Josh Weller, Alfred Durr, Leyland Haas, Scott Smith, Gardner, and Shaver, the linebackers, and the linemen, Alfar Odom, Alvarez, and Taufi. Second down and 11 as the Rams choose to decline the penalty against the Knights. Clock ticking, 9:18 left first quarter, just the start of the action, 0-0 the score. As Aragon, a junior, and there's motion again on the left side. LaFleur, Justin LaFleur, trying to get a head start.
We have already seen 3 penalties against the Knights, and you can't beat good teams with penalties so early.
One of the things with the Knights is coming out of the lineup after making that mistake is LaFleur, is that the sideline for the Knights is a lonely place if you're one of the coaches, because there's not too many guys on that sideline who are wearing uniforms.
It's a struggling program thus far. This is Chambers' 3rd year. We remember a few years ago when Lynwood was at the top of Division II, struggling for championships.
That's when Chuck Levy was their all-world quarterback, defensive player, and of course he went on to the University of Arizona. As the pass up high, and it was knocked away, and then a big hit laid on by Sean Smith. It was knocked away by Matt Shaver, but Sean Smith wanted to punch someone's ticket, and he sure did, as the pass fell incomplete out of the hands of Kenny Roger.
For the last 3 weeks, Willie, a defensive player on the part of the Rams have won the player of the game for the Rams. Now this time they come up with a big defensive play, almost an interception here, and then a big hit at the end.
Clean too. Just caught the receiver Roger off balance and not expecting to pay the price. You go over the middle against this Millikan team, you will pay the price. 3rd down in a bundle as it's 3rd and about 15. That pass is short, caught, but it will be, no, they're going to say it's incomplete. Apparently bobbled by Jerome Dolly. It looks like, oh no, that was definitely an incomplete. Great call.
And he wasn't even over the first down line. It was a stop and go pattern or a curl pattern, but he wasn't over the first down line, so I don't know what they were expecting to get out of that unless they thought he could catch the ball and then run with it.
Well, the Knights on their first series commit a couple mistakes that were called for penalties. One was declined, and then are not able to take advantage of their speed as they're forced to pass, not one of their strengths. A high snap, a looping snap, coming in and blocking it was Weller. It bounces all the way back to the 3, where it's picked up by the Rams, and a touchdown as Chris Hyde
picks up the football, carries it in the end zone, touchdown Millikan.
And for the 4th time in 4 games, the Millikan Rams have scored on special teams. Now, this is just coaching, aggressive football.
Well, no doubt the high looping snap played a part.
Yes.
As Lynwood was in punt formation, but you've got to take advantage. And Josh Weller, what a great job of blocking that punt. Instead of going up with 2 hands, he went out, outstretched 1 arm, blocked it, and Chris Hyde did the rest, scooping it up, going the 3 yards into the end zone for the score. Placement's down, kick is up, the point after, as a flag comes down, appears to be good, but we'll have to check the flag. Converting it was Mark Wells.
Well, when we saw the Rams 3 weeks ago, Willie, they scored on special teams in the first part of the football game. Josh Jordan ran it back for a touchdown. Now we see them score again. Personal foul against Lynwood.
The 4th penalty is not called. Now watch, talk about a looping snap. That almost brought rain.
Yeah,
now,
it was a poor snap, and then it allowed the defense a chance to recover.
But it was great the way Weller blocked it with 1 hand. It rolled to about the 3. Hyde knew he didn't have to get far. Lunged, got the score, 7-0 in favor of the Rams, and it's still early. We'll be back with more in a moment. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week as Mark Wells gets set to kick it to the Knights. 8:32 remaining in the first quarter, 7-0 Rams. And just like the season opener in 1996 when Josh Jordan returned the kickoff for a touchdown, special teams play an important part immediately. Kickoff by the Rams sails just into the end zone as it was fielded by Teron Andrew, and now the Knights take it at the 20.
When I was talking to Jim Chambers yesterday on the campus of Lynwood High School, Willie, he was saying that he saw or heard about the Warren game, and he said that the Rams scored 2 touchdowns in special teams, and you cannot let them do that. Well, he comes out here, and it was a bad snap in center, and they get a touchdown on special teams. So that can really kill you, even though the Rams only scored, I think, 1 touchdown from the scrimmage against the Bears. They scored 2 touchdowns on special teams.
Oregon, who did not get a great opportunity to display his general skills in that opening drive, it was 3 and out. This is a situation where the offense, if they are on the field a lot, will tend to wear down the defense unless the defense holds, your special team scores a touchdown, and the defense has a chance again to put the offense in a quandary as the Rams did in the previous drive. And now, in a sense, it's the Rams defense which may be wearing down the Lynwood offense early. And as I said, there's a lot of guys out there who play both ways because there's not many guys on the sideline wearing uniforms. 7:54 left. We're still in the first quarter, 2nd down and 6. Matt Schauber, nice play, coming over and tapping it away. 2nd time he's done that.
Well, Matt Schauber obviously looking at the tapes of Lynwood. Is a hitch pattern on the part of the Knights, but Schauber in his outside linebacker position really smelt it out and tipped it away. Nice defensive play. He was a spectacular player in the Warren game.
2 years ago, Schauber would still be standing still watching the pass go by. Last year, he would have been just a hair late of blocking it. This year, he's right on top of it. And I think we've seen that with the entire Ram team, that they have come up to speed to the varsity level while learning at the varsity level. And that's one thing that they had to do under Tony Peralta because they were slim pickings there for a while. But now you can see the maturity starting to come through for Millikan, and it's really starting to display itself. Granted, the Rams have not played a Division I opponent, but they haven't played entirely horrible squads either. These are, as I mentioned earlier, the same teams that gave them fits last year. Penalty against the Knights marked off.
And then what it does is give you confidence, too. I mean, we're looking at 2 teams. One is struggling at 1 and 2. And the other one is 4-0. It just has to do a lot for the confidence of a team if they're winning football games. It doesn't matter who they're playing against. The Rams are coming in confident in this football game, and Lynwood's coming in struggling. Now they've gotten their 5th penalty early in this contest.
Aragon, 5'5", 135 pounds. I haven't seen that since I was in 6th grade. As he goes up top, throws it over his intended receiver. You're going to get somebody hurt throwing it up there as Teron Andrew was stretched out.
Well, he really should have gotten the football. The ball hit him all in the hands. That's the kind of a pass that alligator. You talk about alligator hands. That's the kind of pass that will get you a scholarship in Division I, or you'll be working at McDonald's the next year after you've graduated.
Probably not on the grill, though, with short hands.
Willie, you're on a roll tonight. I got to hand it to you.
7:45 left in the first quarter, as back to punt again for the Knights. Their punter, and it is again going to be blocked. This time it's picked up by, who's got it? Number 25, Matt Williams. It's a field day for the Rams special teams. And that's what I mentioned about the Ram defense starting to work on the Lynwood offense, but there's a flag down before you start celebrating.
I think it may be against the Rams.
Personal foul against Millikan. But is it before or after the kick is really the call, because if it's before the kick, it's a first down for the Knights.
I don't know what a personal foul, but the center has been snapping the ball poorly.
Well, there's the block, the pickup. Unfortunately for Matt Williams, his day in the sun is eclipsed by a personal foul penalty. So apparently it happened during the live ball. And a first down for the Knights.
But still, from a psychological standpoint, the Knights have not had it together at all in this football game. They've had 2 poor snaps from center, and it's something they have to work on. They've had a number of penalties. So they've had some early game jitters here in Long Beach.
And the guy shaking the most has to be Esquel Aravalo, the punter for the Knights. He's been back there twice, and he sees some blue jerseys coming his way, and he sees a lot of them. Aragon gives it. This is Teron Andrew, and Andrew works the corner and gets a nice chunk of real estate on the first down and 10 carry. Now that's working his speed, and that is the one thing the Knights have a lot of.
And you know, let's don't discount the Rams either. The Rams do have some speed and skill positions. Their linebackers may not be as fast as most teams, but they read real well. They're an experienced bunch. The corners are really fast and they're athletic. But there are 6 members of the track and field team for Lynwood that are playing football. And when you're trying to match that speed against slow linebackers, you're capable of big plays.
Well, slow linebackers is almost redundant because linebackers are inherently slow. That's why they're linebackers in a sense. And you put speed guys on them, you know, you're going to have a mismatch.
Yes, and that's what the Knights are looking for. But there are some linebackers who are pretty swift.
But you clock them with a sundial.
Compared to what, huh?
Second down and 5 carry. It's a first down for the Knights. So apparently this penalty the Rams committed on the block punt has breathed new life into the Knights as they are nearing Ram territory. Remember, they got the ball for their first series after the Rams failed to convert a 4th down and short play at about the 41-yard line and couldn't make it to midfield. So let's see if the Knights can cross that threshold.
And when you're running the ball against big old number 71, Jason Moore, you're going to get some yards because he can just move guys out. He's quick, fast, and strong, and when they need the meat potato yards, they run up his back.
Now, I don't know if this is going to get me out of trouble or anything, but that was not a shot at linebackers. I meant that in the nicest way possible.
Of course, when you walk on the field, they'll be staring you down.
Guys there.
That's right.
I guess I'll make points by saying at least you're faster than linemen.
That's right, yeah.
Or
the
even
silver
bigger.
lining in every cloud, like you told me last week.
That's right, I'm looking for one.
Yes.
6:30 left in the first quarter, second down and 6 coming up as the line in the sand, in a sense, drawn at midfield, and the Knights have gotten to it. But let's see, like Saddam Hussein, if he's got the guts to cross.
Well, since Vallejo's out, Willie, they have replaced him with Yancy Fatu Zulu. Now, I know I messed that one up, but he was a lineman as being converted back to a fullback in place of Vallejo.
Aragon rolls.
Oh, nice pump fake.
Looking to his right, and it is caught down the sideline. Great grab. No alligator arms there. He went up with the whole deal as making the grab was Kenny Roger. That was a nice grab.
Yeah, and what made this is the offensive line giving him protection, Willie, and a pump fake. Now watch him pump. He's buying time with a pump fake. Now he's a pass and go, and he throws a nice spiral there, and it's a nice athletic catch. Not bad defensive coverage.
It almost appeared as if Weller was preparing himself to get involved in a hit by Leyland Haas because he saw Haas coming, and you saw Weller pull down his arm at the last moment as the pass went over his head. It looked like he had a chance of blocking that. Aragon pitches back, Reversing field is Andrew, and Andrew gets something positive out of something that should have been extremely negative in terms of yardage to Ron Andrew.
And you know what he did smart that time, Willie? He knew he was trapped, and he broke a tackle. Now, look at the flow that's going to the left. And he says, once I get hit, if I go opposite, I may be able to get some yards with my speed. But not much. He got back to the line of scrimmage, basically.
And look at Aragon, the quarterback, throwing a block there that helps spring Andrew to at least some positive yardage.
Yeah, maybe a couple of yards at the most.
It was not a negative, and one of the Rams is down. We'll take a break, and we'll get a report when we come back. 7-0, Rams lead it. Getting off the field under his own power, Jeremy Moore, a defensive lineman, a senior for the Rams. Let's see if you can spot number 99 in the thick of things. He's back here trying to trap down Andrew. In fact, he takes a dive here. He gets hit by his own man as Rolling and Randy Scott kind of tripped him up. Right up the middle goes Andrew, and then Andrew gets sandwiched by a couple tacklers from the Rams. Teron Andrew, and in there blocking side by side with Andrew as he carried the football was number 44, Isaac Iono. And for a second there, I had problems seeing who had the football because they were side by side.
Well, now the offensive line of the Knights is clicking. They're beating the Rams to the punch, and then they're turning on the afterburners at running back, and they're looking good right now.
It's Iono who gets the football, and he goes down as the tackle by Loto Taufi. Now, apparently, was that Faatoslia? Was it Faatoslia?
I thought it was Faatoslia.
All right, I'll go with that.
And I have to say that name 4 or 5 times to feel comfortable in pronouncing it correctly.
It is Faatoslia in the backfield, along with Andrew, and of course, Aragon, the quarterback. 2 receivers split out to the right side, none to the left. The give is going to go to Andrew. Andrew sidesteps one tackler, but he's slowed down enough for the rest of the linemen to get there in time. No gain on the play. That'll bring up 3rd down and 10.
Now, if the Knights don't come up with 6 points here, they do have a fine place kicker if the center can snap him the ball correctly, because he has had a string of field goals for the Lynwood Knights, and he should be able to get one at this range. Right now, we're looking at the ball resting on the 15, so that'll be about a 25-yard field goal. That's not bad for him. And we're talking about Ariavel Esquivel Arvalo.
And Arvalo may need to seek some psychiatric help for some sort of attacks he's been taking from the special teams of the Rams, because he's been under pressure all night. As the pass is caught by Andrew. Andrew nearly slips a tackle at the 10, but he's going to be shy of the 1st down. And unless he's suffering from some sort of stress disorder, we're going to see the kicker Arvalo out to kick a field goal attempt, I would imagine.
Well, number 12, the quarterback Thomas Aragon, is looking good right now. That was 2 wide receivers on the left side of the field, and they're showing their speed, and it has taken some good tackling by the Rams to prevent 6.
Now at 4th and 4, you would almost put a lock on the fact that the Knights would be going for a field goal, a 21-yarder, which would be a chip shot, but instead they're going to go for the touchdown here on 4th and 4, and their wide receiver goes in motion, which was a big mistake, because now you're set up at 4th down and about 9 as they're going to back up the football, and that almost guarantees the kicking team. In fact, I see Arvalo coming out right now.
The 6th penalty for the Knights tonight, and the coaches, of course, are very upset about that, but they're still in this football game 7-0.
Just on a 4th and 4, I still am trying to figure out Jim Chambers' strategy on going for the touchdown. Obviously, it would tie the score, but I wonder how much the problems that the snapper, the long snapper, has had on the 2 punts played in the mind of Chambers in going for the touchdown rather than the field goal attempt. Because I've seen coaches lose confidence in their kickers, but not on their long snapper. And there's a timeout on the field by the Knights, and they're going to talk it over maybe give a little pep talk to that snapper who's got the big job coming up. 7-0 Rams. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. In the press box, we're discussing the strategy as to why Jim Chambers would have been going for the touchdown score on 4th and 4 from about the 10. Another reason why might have been that he was trying to draw the Rams offside on a count. However, the receiver went on the first count, so that wasn't the call either. Let's see if Arevalo can deliver. This is a good snap. The kick is high enough, long enough, and it is good. Arevalo connects from 23 to make that 33 yards. We'll take a break. It's 7-3 in favor of the Rams. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. I'm Willie Padilla, along with me, Errol Parker and Eddie Van Geis and the rest of our CBI sports crew, headed up by our producer-director, Rob Meckhamson. 2:21 left in the first quarter as Josh Weller, no, excuse me, that's 17. That's Leyland Haas who gets it at about the 3. Haas turns left side at about the 30 and is wrapped up at the 33. Nice return by Leyland Haas.
I was talking to Jim Chambers as we look at the Rams bench, and this has been a very successful bench. But I was talking to Jim Chambers, and he was saying that in the game against St. Paul, they just came out totally intimidated, Willie, against St. Paul. And as a matter of fact, they didn't even score in that football game. A very disappointing loss for the Knights.
But St. Paul, a quality team. In fact, they knocked the Bruins of Wilson off last week, 28-12, for the Bruins' first loss of the 1996 season. The give goes to Gabe Anderson, and he squirts for 9 on 1st down and 10.
Gabe Anderson, fine runner. This summer, Willie, he went to vacation in Catalina, Big Bear and the Colorado River, besides practicing football. So he had quite a summer, and that was quite a run and quite good blocking up front by the Rams' offensive line.
A player shaken up for the Rams, and it's DeAndre Grant, who's holding his left arm. And we'll take a break while Dave Schauber takes a look. 1:53 left in the first. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. That's not a good way to be holding your left arm coming off the field. That looks like some sort of shoulder injury or something to the upper left side of the body. 7-3 Rams lead it, 2nd down and 1 after the run by Anderson on 1st down and 10. In motion goes Mark Wells. The fake, Beaudry throwing, got Weller, 1st down. And the Rams into Knight territory for the first time in this ball game. Their score came on a special teams play.
Josh Weller, as many of you remember, was last year's quarterback. Now, it was his choice to go to wide receiver. He felt like that was his best possibility of getting a scholarship, and he showed some very nice athletic ability and hands on that play.
I will correct the previous statement. The Rams did get to about the 41 of Lynwood on their opening drive before giving it up on downs. Gabe Anderson again across the 40, cuts back to the 30. He's bumping around like a pinball before finally going down the chute. He's got a 1st down to the 23. They weren't wrapping him up, they were bouncing him in between.
Nice blocking. It was poor tackling on the part of the Knights, but nice blocking on the offensive line. Now, Coach Tom Morgan said his offensive line is healthy for the first time. Look at number 6, just trying to bump him down instead of wrapping and taking him down. But the offensive line is as healthy as it has been since the start of the season, Willie, and they look very good on that play.
1st down, and horrible pass by Beaudry as he lost sight of Weller, and he threw it to where he thought Weller would be. Watch, he just throws it, and it's nearly picked off. Number 11, Hans Offer, was in the way, and so Beaudry was going by where he's been every day in practice,
when you have excuse me, Willie, when you have a small quarterback like that, that's a dangerous kind of pass. When you're 6'3" and can look over those big offensive linemen, you can see where that guy is going to be. But when a small 5'9" quarterback throws into coverage like that, that can really kill you.
44 ticks left on the first quarter clock. 2nd down and 10 for the Rams. The give goes to Anderson. No hold this time, and he goes nowhere. Anderson, who's had a couple big holes to run behind on his previous 2 carries, this time got swallowed up immediately, picked up only a couple.
Gabe Anderson is really involved in his church and clubs on campus. He's a member of the Senior Men's Club and the Way Club. Now, whatever that means, I'll have to find out what the Way Club means, but probably the in crowd, like they used to call it way back when I was in school.
Well, I believe that stands for the way, as if to an everlasting peace.
Okay.
As Beaudry, rolling to his left, found no receivers and found even less room as he picked up just 3 when trying to bootleg it, but a flag came down at the 20. It might be a holding, and it probably is, and indeed it is. I would decline this if I were the Knights. It'll happen on the tail end of the play as Beaudry runs out of time, and then he has to bootleg it. The holding occurred. I got a feeling it was right there with number 71, Nick Masterakis. When you see a body fly like that, that's usually not natural.
No, it's not. Masterakis, excuse me, I'm saying Boterakis, not Beaudry, but Masterakis, this is his first game back since Warren.
And we'll talk about that and other things when we return as we've reached the end of the first quarter. They'll decline the penalty, so it'll be 4th down coming up for the Rams, decision time, and we'll see the result when we come back on our Long Beach High School football Game of the Week. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football Game of the Week. I'm Willie Padilla, along with me, Errol Parker, Eddie Van Geist, somewhere lurking along the sidelines. And, of course, the rest of our CBI sports crew with Rob Meckhamson, our producer-director, and company, including Linda Papayanopoulos, our graphics coordinator, Sean Lowe, our engineer, and a cast of dozens. Pass towards the end zone. The battle comes up empty for Mark Wells. And on 4th down, Rams go for it, come up empty. Rams yet to punt.
And they haven't punted much this season. In fact, they've only punted about 7 times in 4 games, which is a good percentage. Now, on that particular play, it was a 4-step drop pass, but it was pretty good coverage over there. Now, the Rams have not done much from the line of scrimmage. They've scored on special teams.
There's the pass towards the end zone. Here's the battle for Wells. Wells, he's just not tall enough. You got to be about 7 feet to catch that pass.
And actually, it might have just been kind of thrown away by the Rams.
See, you're not throwing anything away on 4th down.
Oh, no, you're not. Actually, you're not.
If it's intercepted, it works better than a punt. As the Rams take over, or excuse me, the Knights take over. And that play works for less than nothing, as it works for negative yardage. It'll be 2nd down and 11 or 12 coming up for the Knights.
The Rams employ a 4-4 defense. They let their linebackers do most of the tackling. And talking to Coach Chambers, Willie, he said that they were going to attack the bubble. Now, what that means is that the linebackers are going to shift on one side of the field according to where the tight end is. And on their run plays, they're going to go to the weak side of the field. They feel like they can have the most success in doing that.
Millikan, 4-0, cracked the top 10 of the CIF Southern Section Division I polls this past week. A major accomplishment is there in the polls for the first time under head coach Tony Peralta. Running out of time is Aragon. Sack made by Randy Scott. Also in on the sack, it was actually precipitated by Josh Weller, as he's the one that basically cornered him.
Now, that was a coverage sack. The cornerbacks and safeties had the routes well covered, and it gave the chance of the linebackers to come in and get their man. But it was good scrambling. He was running for his life on the part of the Knight quarterback, and he should just probably thrown it out of bounds, but he had to take the sack, or he did take the sack.
Well, it was a nice attempted blocking by Toslia as he was in there trying to help his quarterback out, but that was like trying to put the finger in the dike because there was water coming from everywhere. Flags come down with 3rd and 15 coming up, and it is delay of game against the Knights. And thus far, they've been penalized a number of times, at least a half dozen times. I would say they've been penalized 6 times.
This is their 7th penalty.
Although the Rams have only been penalized, have had 1 penalty marked off against them. A couple have been declined. That was the most important one, the personal foul on the block punt that would have been a touchdown. And eventually led to the field goal by the Knights. So that was a 10-point turnaround. Aragon dropping back near his own end zone. Going over the middle, it's nearly picked off. Had his hands on it was number 56 of the Rams, Alex Gardner. You don't get too many opportunities like that.
Now you wonder why the linebackers are not fooling a play like that. And if they look at the quarterback, they'll see where the ball is going to be thrown. And watch, he does not look away. He looks directly, no, actually he does look away. But the linebackers figured he was going in the middle of the field. It wasn't a well-thrown ball, and it was almost intercepted.
I don't think he was looking away. I think he was watching his receiver make the break. And when you establish eye contact like that, that's called staring.
Yeah, and the linebackers really knew where the football was going.
Sure, most of us did.
Unless you're blind.
This punt, and look at what the Knights have done. Unfortunately, I had called Aravalo the punter the first 2 times for the Knights. It was actually a different player, number 15, Sal Meza. And a penalty against the Knights is declined as that punt from the 10 is going to be marked at, where do they've got it? At the 20, a 10-yard punt? Now, I think they're going to mark it somewhere else. We'll get a report from Eddie Van Geist and we'll do the math.
Willie and Errol, I just spoke to the team doctor, Dr. Paul Schreck, and he told me that DeAndre Grant, number 31, took a helmet to the shoulder. He's very sore. When I asked, will he return to the game, he said, we're not making that decision yet. We're going to wait a while. That's the report from down here.
Thank you for that report, Eddie. The punt, a 20-yard punt, it's marked at the 30. But the point I was going to say, Sal Meza tried to punt the first 2 times, had them both blocked, and I don't think either were his fault because they were the snaps that were tremendously slow. And on this punt, it is their field goal kicker who kicked the 32-yarder earlier in the game, who I called the punter on the first 2 plays, Aravalo, and Aravalo kicks it 20 yards. We'll take a break, 7-3 in favor of the Rams. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week as we'll return to action. First down and 10 for the Millikan Rams. 10:02 left in the second quarter, and the Rams lead it by 4, 7-3. Beaudry has 2 receivers split out to the near side, 1 to the far side. 2 backs in the backfield, Gabe Anderson, and Anderson wrapped up immediately. Getting to him first was Eamon Iono. And also helping on the tackle is the much larger Jason Moore.
It's hard to keep Jason Moore out. Now, if we look at this play again, Jason Moore is coming from his defensive end position. It was an attempt at block, but he just reaches out and touches someone really gently and then lays on them.
I tell you what, and look at Grant in there. DeAndre Grant, the player shaken up, I believe, and he was the one walked off with his shoulder. That was probably not the first responsibility he wanted. So the answer to Eddie Van Geist's report that Grant, whether or not he would return, he has returned. An ineffective run on the second down play as he picks up maybe a yard. And not a very effective, but who can blame him, block on Jason Moore on the previous play. I wouldn't want that assignment.
No, that's a heck of an assignment when you come back with a short soul. You want to be completely healthy when you go up against Jason Moore. That's why SC wants him. There he is. Jason Moore, he can line up. They give him the freedom of lining up anywhere he wants. And as big as he is, you'll let him do it.
Yeah, they'll give him the room and scholarship, but the board they're going to negotiate. Third down and 9, 8:40 left second quarter. Man in motion, that's Grant. Straight drop back, Beaudry. Now rolling to his right, trying to buy time. Gets a pseudo block by Gabe Anderson. Was Anderson the one blocking Jason Moore? Because I'll tell you what, if that was Anderson, he was giving up 100 pounds. It's officially 70, 160 to 230, but I'm thinking it's more than that.
This time they're coming. The defensive ends are coming because the tackles are really blocked. Beaudry buys some time and rolls out, but he's still being pursued.
Now watch the wheels, that Moore's even in there. It isn't Gabe Anderson.
And it was a nice block on Jason Moore, eliminating him from the play.
And then you run so he doesn't find your number.
No.
You don't want him to know who blocked
Yeah, you
him.
try to switch jerseys and then point to another guy.
He runs sideways so all he sees is the side of your jersey and not the number. 4th down and 10. Rams go for it again. No punting here. Anderson gets the football, gets tripped up at the 24. Does not get the first down. Nice tackle made by Hans Offer.
Hans Offer makes a great tackle, preventing a first down, Willie. That was a nice play that developed that could have been a first down, but Hans, and they teach you to tackle open field like that, and he did just that.
You wonder if his maternal grandfather named him Hans Offer, as he made a tackle there.
I tell you, I haven't heard you better. In the 9 years that we've been doing high school football, you're really on a roll.
8:16 left, second quarter. We'll let that one soak in.
Yeah, that's really over my head, but who am I? Triple wide receiver set. Now, this is what Tony Peralta was really concerned about, whether they could cover it.
First down and 10. The Knights going up top. The pass is bounced off one receiver's hands into another as Kenny Roger gets the deflection. They've practiced that 3 receiver set, but I don't know if the tip drill is part of it.
No, it definitely wasn't part of it. It wasn't a well-thrown ball. Could have been intercepted, but that was what Tony Peralta was afraid of, because you have to put a linebacker on a wide receiver.
Boys volleyball team ought to check out the receiver here. Watch this set.
Not a badly thrown ball, but it was in traffic. He goes up for it. It goes off of his hands and into another.
Jerome Dawley tipping it to Kenny Roger. Give goes to Teron Andrew, and Andrew on the first down and 10 play may have gotten another first down.
Some fine-looking runners on the part of the Lynwood Knights, and all they need is a good block, and they usually get it from Jason Moore. And they did it that time. As we look at a Ram trying to get those cramps out, number 71
that
for the
would
Rams.
be Masterakis, Nick Masterakis.
And he had a hamstring injury for the last couple of weeks, and that's probably what they're trying to stretch.
Nice facial hair for Masterakis. I remember when they used to shave their heads.
Well, they do at the start of the season here at Millikan, but then they let it grow later. Right up the gut on this one.
And it's Teron Andrew again. He turns the corner. He's got clear sailing, touchdown.
Nice block. I'm going to try to get
Was that the
number,
receiver?
number 6 for the Knights.
And that was Kenny Roger.
Kenny Roger made a nice block. And it was good blocking at the line of scrimmage. And Lynwood is very fortunate to be in this football game. It could have been 14-0. The Rams gave up a field goal, and now the Knights are ahead 9-7.
I'll tell you, if there's ever been a change in momentum, it was that penalty, because since then, it's been all Knights. It's been,
no pun intended,
Knights all day. It was
and lights out for the Knights.
Here comes the point after attempt by Aravalo. Holding it is Aragon. It's a fake. Aragon rolling. He's trying to get it to a receiver in the end zone, and that was a poor attempt at a block, as the pass was intended for Isaac Iono, and a flag is down on the field.
And we're looking at the replay of the run here.
It was Teron Andrew.
And then watch the block. Oh, well, we've already seen the block there by Rogers, and that really sprung him. Now, for the first time in this young season, the Rams are behind in a football game. And we were talking to Tony Peralta, and we'll talk about what he thinks about that.
9-7, Knights lead for the first time. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. 7:32 shows on the scoreboard in the first half. And the Rams, for the first time in 1996, trail. Arvalo's kick still going.
We were talking to Tony Peralta, Willie, before the football game, Eddie Van Geis and I was asking him, have you ever been behind in a football game? He says no, but that's the sign of a good football team, especially late in the game, whether they can come from behind and win a football game. Well, they're behind right now early in this contest, and they'll have to show some character.
And how quickly momentum can shift. The Rams had a 7-0 lead. Their special teams had just blocked another punt, a second punt, and it returned it into the end zone. And Matt Williams appeared to have a touchdown to make it 13-0 at least for the Rams. Instead, a penalty against the Rams gave the Knights a first down. The Knights would go on to score a field goal on that drive, and this touchdown now gives them the lead. The Rams have been stymied since they committed that personal foul penalty.
Well, they're gonna stick to the ground as
that was
DeAndre Grant who received that handoff, and they gained about 4 yards on that play. So they're going to try to mix the pass and the run and come from behind in this football game. It'll be interesting to see how they do it.
Beaudry checks out the defense, hands it off to Anderson. Anderson, nice hole, good cutback. Gets to the 40 before he's twisted down. Good decision to cut back to the center of the field. That got him at least an extra 5 yards.
Now let's look at the offensive line on this play. They block Jason Moore, and the lead blocker is really looking for, DeAndre is looking for somebody to block, but he runs interference as number 51 for the Knights, Greg Malutu, makes the tackle.
Well, the tackle indeed by Meloto, but you mentioned that they blocked Moore. I think they just ran away from Moore and blocked everybody else, because Moore was chasing the scene as the pass is complete. Is that Wells who makes the grab? Mark Wells? Yes.
Now they go to the air. They find success on the run or with the run, and now they go to the air.
My estimation is what the penalty would be marked off was incorrect. Although they had attained the first down, the play not complete, it was not a dead ball foul. If it had been a dead ball foul after the play, then things would have been different. And I'm sure if that's incorrect, every official in Long Beach will call me and let me know.
And they usually do. A
Kenny
few times you are wrong.
Kenny I, whose license plate eyeball, I think tells it all.
Yes, it does.
Umpire Mike Poff, head linesman Jeff Davis, line judge Bob Poosh, and back judge Steve Sturdivant, as getting the football and not going down is DeAndre Grant. Nice run by Grant, as it was a first down and 7 play. Usually don't find that on the field. It's a rather odd combination, but after the 2 penalties by both teams, it's now 2nd down and 4. Football just shy of midfield at the 48. The Rams will have to get to the 49 of Lynwood for a first down.
This is a new experience for the Rams in this young season, being behind in a football game, and this is a growing process that they'll have to work through. We'll see how they do it.
And just like any time in a young man's life when you're behind the 8 ball, it is a character builder. As Beaudry running out of time, running out of real estate, as he goes down at about the original line of scrimmage, a gain of a foot maybe, and it'll still be a 3-yard to gain a first down situation, but it'll be 3rd down now.
That time the Knight secondary had the receivers covered, and Beaudry couldn't find anyone. He decided to run himself. Now, one of the things that they've been trying to get him to do is stay in the pocket and find your receivers and give them time to develop their routes. And when the quarterback is in trouble, come back to the quarterback. But by that time, Beaudry has taken off and ran in many of the football games they play.
Weller split off to the near side, Wells to the far side. 2 men in the backfield, Anderson and Grant. It is Anderson. Anderson gets near the first down, should have gotten it. He needed to get to about the 49, and there is a lovely pole with lights right at, from our vantage point, the 48. And when Anderson disappeared with that football behind that pole, I figured he had a first down.
And I think you were right, because they're moving the chains. Now we're looking at Jason Moore. I think what the Ram offensive line is doing is beating the defensive line of the Knights to the punch. I mean, they're quicker, it looks like, and they're standing them up and they're getting the needed yardage that they really need.
First down and 10, Rams in night territory. Give goes to Grant. Grant pushing the pile past the 45. That play should not have garnered this much, but it did, thanks in part to the offensive line, but also to Grant's determination.
We were out looking at the Knights against Inglewood, and they didn't play very well the first half as we see an injured Knight down there. Tonight, they don't seem to be rushing their linebackers. They seem to be hitting and holding and watching where the play is going.
And we'll take a break as a Knight shaken up. That's hands offer. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. Dave Schauber along that sideline, a man who wears many hats on the sideline. Proud papa, one of them is his son Matt Schauber on the team. In fact, played a very good game against the Knights, and nice right by number 14, Eamon Iono, the right knocking Beaudry down. And usually you're not supposed to strike the quarterback about the head.
Now that was a play action pass from the I formation, and here comes the linebackers. Now Beaudry is pretty athletic, but he gets knocked down with a right cross on the helmet, but he holds on to the football. If he had been hit one more time, that he might have coughed that ball up.
Took a little spin there. Of course, the head slap made famous by Deacon Jones, but that was outlawed by the Pete Rozelle administration back after the days of Watergate.
Now, I don't remember those times. You'll have to tell me about that, Will.
Beaudry dropping back, running out of time, running out of real estate, down he goes.
Now, that's exactly what we were talking about earlier. Beaudry is not letting his wide receivers develop their routes. It is a fierce pass rush, but he needs to stay in that pocket or move a little bit and throw the football. At least that's what the coaches think he ought to do.
And here's a rarity coming up. The Rams are punting. First time we've seen this, and it's Chris Hyde, who knows a little thing about kicks getting blocked because he's the one that picked up the previous block by the Rams and scored the touchdown that counted. But he gets the punt off.
Nice coverage.
Well, that's nice that the punter for the Rams was the recipient of the touchdown on the block punt by Millikan.
And that's a rarity, too.
Oh, that's extremely rare.
Now, that was a line drive kick, and normally the receiving team has an advantage over there, but it was nice speed on the part of the special teams of the Rams, and they had that kick covered, or that punt covered, real well.
2:14 shows on the clock as the Knights have the football at their 24. Lynwood will have to get something going quickly if they want to get on the board before halftime. 2-point lead for the Knights. Give goes to a new back into the backfield. That's Jesse Barfield. There was once an outstanding outfielder for the Toronto Blue Jays named Jesse Barfield, but he could not run the football quite like that.
No, he has 4.4 speed, Barfield does, and he's a track star. He's a sprinter, and he's prone for the big play. He hit that hole really fast and got some nice yardage.
.158 and counting in the first half. First down and 10. Football at the 40. Well, that is generating offense quickly, as a 16-yard pickup by Barfield, and he's in motion. Flag is down. It's going to be against the Knights. Aragon, takes a big hit.
Goodness.
And doing the hitting, number 95, Faris Afar.
Man, that was a fierce hit. Afar broke loose from his line position and levels Aragon.
Reach out and touch someone. Ouch.
You ought to be a first-round draft choice in the NFL to take that kind of hit because you can pick up your check and your teeth at the counter.
I'll tell you what, Alfar is going to have this on tape for a lot of years.
Yeah, and play it back and forth to his grandchildren.
We can go ahead and say hi to the entire Alfar family for generations, as this will be held on to. That was a big-time hit.
Now that makes a quarterback think. The next time he drops back and tries to scramble a little bit, he says he's looking for that guy who hit him the last time.
That's, of course, after he regains his senses.
Yeah, and it takes a while, 2 or 3 plays. You don't want your number called after that one.
Second down and a bundle, flag down again. It's going to be against the Knights again for a similar infraction. And nice block to save the quarterback momentarily. Aragon making like Fran Tarkington, instead runs into one of his own players before finally going down at where the line of scrimmage was after the previous sack. But remember, there's still a flag down after all that. That is a penalty against, as we show the hit for some reason again on Aragon from the previous play. But on this play, a flag is down for 2 men in motion, and the Rams may or may not accept with 56 seconds left. It is declined. It'll bring up third down. And timeout is called by the Rams, expecting that they'll get the clock or the ball back with some time left on the clock. Let's take a break. 56 seconds left. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. 56 seconds left on the first half clock. The Knights had a timeout, or excuse me, the Rams called a timeout after declining the penalty, which brings up third down, figuring the Knights have 2 options. Either they try and pass for the first down and thus render the rest of the first half meaningless to the Rams offensively, or they run it trying to run out the clock, and the Rams call another timeout and then try and do something on a fourth down play. Or excuse me, on whatever time they have left on the clock after the punt on the fourth down play. Aragon, quarterback, 2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. Aragon in trouble, but that should be no surprise. Throws it up for grabs, and it's blocked at the last moment. Nice play by Alfred Durr. He made up some room in a hurry.
Alfred Durr is a very, very fine cornerback in the mode of Jason Bell, the fine cornerback of last year for the Rams, who is playing for UCLA. Now, we talked to Peralta, and he said they needed to put pressure on Aragon because if you give him a chance to set up, he'll kill you, and that's exactly what the Rams have been doing. They've been rushing their linebackers and putting an immense amount of pressure on Aragon.
Here comes the punting unit for the Knights. It'll be place kicker SKL Arevalo, not Sal Meza. Meza, who pleaded with Coach Jim Chambers to let him do some punting, got 2 shots, and that was it. And now, how about Arevalo? Takes the one hopper and punts it to the 20-yard line. That's what young Meza had to learn, is how to turn a bad snap into a good punt.
Arevalo is a fine punter. All league last year for the Knights. His brother was a national leader in punting and kicking. He received national recognition for that, and he's following in the footsteps of his big brother.
The Rams have it, 20-yard line, and they've got 43 seconds to try and do something with it.
I'm speaking of Juan Arevalo. He was an All-American punter last year, and he's at Fullerton, Cal State Fullerton this season.
Well, I would imagine that's probably Fullerton College, since Cal State Fullerton's football team has gone by way of Long Beach State's football team.
But they actually told me Cal State Fullerton, but it has to be Fullerton College because, as you say, they have no more football program.
But they do have a fabulous football stadium, does Cal State Fullerton?
Yeah, but it's being unused. Of course, I guess someone is using that.
They're making some nice rental dollars to local high schools and junior colleges.
Beautiful stadium, yes.
15 seconds left. I guess you can figure out why they don't have a football program the way spend money like that. 12 seconds left. Clock ticking. I'm not sure the Rams will get the play off. They do. Final play of the first half. And that's going to help anybody's stats unless you're one of the tacklers, and that's it in the first half. 9-7. The Lynwood Knights, after the first 24 minutes, lead it by 2 over the Millikan Rams. And the Rams missed an opportunity early on the second block punt to turn this into a rout, and now they're in for a big ball game.
And they have to go in for the first time, Willie, at halftime down. Now, this is where coaching really has to rise up and keep their players head in the game. We'll see how they come out in the second half.
And Coach Tony Peralta, who has done a great job coaching not only this year's team, but this program over the last few years. He's got some locker room work to do, and we'll get, I guess, a preview of that locker room chat Eddie Van Geis is standing by with the head coach, Tony Peralta, down on the field.
Coach Peralta, your Rams are down by only 2 points at halftime. What changes are you going to make in the second half?
Well, we got to clean up some of our blocking assignments. They have given us some different fronts that we haven't seen them run before. So we got to make the proper adjustments at halftime and control the ball in the second half.
Last year it was a 1-point victory by them. 2-point game at halftime. It could come down to the very end again.
Well, yeah, we knew this would be a tight game, and it's going to be a great game for spectators. We'll just see who's playing the better football in the second half.
All right, Coach, good luck in the second half. All right, Willie and Errol, we thought that it was going to be a real close ball game. The hitting down here, I'm telling you, there's some hard pops being applied. It should be a dandy of a second half. Let's go back upstairs.
Indeed, we're hoping for a dandy second half of action as we've got a tight one. It's a 2-point lead for the Knights. 9-7 as we've reached halftime. I'm Willie Padilla, along with me, Errol Parker and Eddie Van Geis. We'll take that halftime break. Back with the third quarter in just a few moments. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. I'm Willie Padilla, along with me, Errol Parker and Eddie Van Geis, combing the sideline for interesting things to talk about. And of course, he pointed out some injuries that for the Rams fortunately have been cured. And with 12 minutes coming up here in the third quarter, here's a team that really should have been all over the Knights, had an opportunity to put them down and put them down early, and they failed to capitalize. And right now, they're the victim of their own mistakes.
And it's really been a strange football game. As I was saying at the end of the first half, the Knights have 7 penalties, which comes up to almost 90 yards in penalties, but they're still 2 points ahead in this football game. But it's not over yet. The Rams have not scored from the line of scrimmage. Their only score comes on special teams, as they have done in the past 4 games. Teran Andrews has 25 yards on 5 carries, and Gabe Anderson has 57 yards on 9 carries for the Rams.
The kickoff by Wells, bounces at the 15, rolls to Andrew at the 10. Teran Andrew, who has done an excellent job coming out of the backfield, does a pretty impressive job coming out of the kick return spot and gets the football out to the 31. That is where the Knights will begin their first possession of this second half, up by 2.
Well, so far the Rams have avoided a big play, which Coach Peralta was really concerned about. But they've given up a field goal and a touchdown to these Knights.
Yes, this night they have. With 11:54 showing on the clock, and we're beginning the third quarter. It's 9-7 in favor of the Knights, and Lynwood began in that second half in that second quarter to start to display that blazing speed that was Tony Peralta's concern all week. And now with a 2-point lead, I think they can emphasize that part of their game a little bit more.
That opens up some things for passing when you have quick openers with speed like Lynwood has. That means the linebackers are preoccupied, and you can apply your speed of the wide receivers on your corners and safeties.
The give is to Andrew, and Andrew breaks a couple tackles, finally gets tripped up. Teran Andrew, he's one broke tackle away from breaking that one all the way.
They don't seem to be missing their big fullback Vallejo very much tonight. They've shown some speed and some strength in their running game thus far.
And at the beginning, when the Rams seemed to have the Lynwood offense bottled up and was working them backwards, in fact, the special teams blocked the 2 punts on the first 2 series for the Knights. Now it is the Lynwood offense which seems to be wearing down the Rams defense. And things have turned around based on the momentum shift. The give again to Andrew. They keep calling his number. Why not? He keeps working until he loses it. And I believe the Knights get it back, and it is the Knights. Was that an offensive lineman? 54? That was, no, 54. That would be Yenson Gonzalez.
Well, we didn't see the beginning of that play, but what the Knights are doing is they're running what I called earlier the bubble. They're running at the bubble or the odd side of the field. Now, that time it was a good tackle, and he has the ball, but he was stripped of it by number.
That's Loro Taufi.
Stripped him of the football, and the Knights were fortunate to get it back.
Right, as Yenson Gonzalez got it back. Again, it's loose. This time, I think the Rams have it. Too many blue jerseys in that neck of the woods. And you were talking about the team that makes the least amount of mistakes going to be the team that finishes out on top. The Knights have not learned their lesson, and they keep making mistakes, and that's why you play a whole ball game of 48 minutes, not just 24.
He really never had the football. I don't know if it was bad handoff on the part of the quarterback or bad hands on the part of the running back.
Well, it appeared that he was trying to give it to him in his chest, and it bounced right off the lower part of the shoulder pads rather than hitting a soft part of the body. The handoff just was not low enough. Beaudry running the option, pitches back. He's got Anderson. Anderson will pick up 4.
And talking to Coach Peralta, he said that they will run some speed option. And Beaudry ran the speed option that time. It was a fake dive play, and he sprinted out and at the last moment decided to pitch the ball, and he runs that real well.
Momentum in elusive quantity, very difficult to control. The Rams had it momentarily, had it slip through their fingers. The Knights gained it, and looks like they very clearly have given it back up. Let's see if the Rams can capitalize and regain that momentum. The fake, Beaudry going up top. He overthrows his man. There was a bump downfield as Beaudry trying to get it in the hands of Tony Garcia. That was Teron Andrew, who was the player who fumbled the football, or would have fumbled it had he gotten his hands on it.
Play action on that play. He had a wide receiver streaking downfield, but the ball was overthrown, and it was pretty good coverage.
Clock stopped with 9:07 showing on the clock. 3rd down and about 6 for the Rams. They've got the football at their own 49, need to get very near the 45 of Lynwood. Beaudry dropping back. He's got Weller. Weller, I'll tell you what, Weller knew he was going to get hit, did not get his arms out as he took the hit from Jerome Dawley, but I'll tell you what, Dawley made the wrong decision. If he goes after the football, he's got a touchdown. Dawley, he's got his hands up. He's trying to drill Weller. If he's got his head up watching the football, he's got an interception. That hit him in the hands.
It certainly did.
Chris Hyde, who punted for the Rams in the first half in their only punt, back again. Not quite the line drive of the previous punt. Not fielded well. And the Rams give it up to the Knights, and Eddie Van Geis has an interview for us down on the field. Eddie.
Willie and Errol, the all-time reception record holder at Millikan, is this guy next to me, Ed Robinson. I think Millikan could use him right now. Ed, what's it feel like coming back here to your alma mater?
It feels great. I've been here a few times before. It's nice to see the kids play, have a good time.
You had a big year, 1985. You guys are more league champions in that great year you had. What game stands out, your performance?
The Jordan game, had 8 receptions, 200 yards, 4 touchdowns. That kind of stands out most.
How about Poly now? They're a powerhouse every year. How'd you do against Poly that time?
That was the last time we beat them. Scored a touchdown with maybe a minute left. We won more league.
Finally, what would you tell these guys, Millikan? What do they have to do to win this game?
They're playing all right. They just need to be a little more consistent on offense as far as passing the ball, and they should be all right.
All right, Ed, enjoy yourself. Fellas, what can I say? Even on a football team, 2 Eds are better than 1. Let's go back upstairs.
Oh, boy. I'll tell you what, though. Bad thing for that young man that we were just 2 years away from beginning our coverage on our Long Beach High School football game of the week. So he can only relive his glorious moments on the Millikan football field courtesy of game films, not on videotape.
Yeah, and you know, I think a lot of kids would have liked to seen it produced earlier, but for those kids starting in 1988 when we started our broadcast, if they have tapes of this game, that's something historical that they can go back on, and you know, that's pretty nice when you can see yourself as a much younger person playing football.
And don't we know that? 8:24 left in the third quarter. It is 2nd down and 9 coming up for the Knights after a brief interlude. The Knights, who began to move the football by giving it to Teron Andrew, but when they couldn't get it in his hands, and that, of course, was on a fumble, they paid the price. Nice play by the Rams as they converge on Jesse Barfield. That was Shaver, and let's see, was that 96? It would have been Shaver then, and Rocky Taufi. Was it Taufi? Yes,
Taufi,
Rocky
yeah.
Taufi. And there's holding also against the Knights. Well, do you give them a couple-yard gain, or do you take and bounce them back 10 yards? Nice tackle by
Taufi and Shaver. And Shaver,
actually, that was
that
44
Shaver?
as well as Shaver, Sean Smith.
Sean Smith. And of course, that's the son. His father's up here doing, Clarence Smith, doing the public address announcing.
And I'm sure he got the tackler right.
Yes, he certainly did. Now, his grandfather was a former city councilman in the city of Long Beach, Clarence Smith Sr.
Second down and 20 or so. As the football loose in the end zone, Aragon picks it up. What's he gonna do? He's just throwing it up for grabs, and he hits a man. That's their fullback. They've got a first down. No flags are down. That play was so ugly, there should have been a flag down somewhere.
Now, where's Fred Rogan when you really need him? Because that play should be shown back on Channel 4. I almost thought it was illegal lineman downfield.
Well, it looked like the only thing wrong with that was his number. He was as big as an offensive lineman. Now, if there's holding committed here, there would have been an automatic safety. Instead, Aragon throws it up for what appears to be up for grabs. Wow, he's got his man. The catch made by Yancey Batoslia, and that's a first down. And I bet Jim Chambers drew it up like that in the halftime locker room.
Of course.
He'll take credit for that. Who wouldn't? It's Andrew again. Andrew can't break the tackle after a pickup of 4. Credit Leyland Haas with the tackle. Meanwhile, Eddie Van Geist down on the field.
They talk about the spirit of Millikan. They're 4-0 this year. Well, this is the heart of their spirit. Jennifer, you find yourself down 2 points. What do you guys got to do to win this?
We're gonna win. We need to keep it up, guys. Let's keep it up.
We've got another Jennifer here. Jennifer, what do you got to do?
We just gotta play really hard. I know we can win. Go.
Are you guys going to yell a lot?
Yeah.
If they have anything to do with the outcome of this game, you know that Millikan will have a victory tonight and be 5-0.
Eddie Van Geist and the Ram cheerleaders in days of the Los Angeles Rams, they would have been embraceable youths. But Eddie, despite using the best journalistic instincts where you don't ask a yes or no question because you'll get a yes or no answer, still somehow managed to get yes or no answers.
But when you're dealing with kids, you just do whatever is basic, and it's nice to see these kids out here having fun. It's safe out here. Their team is undefeated, and they have a reason to be proud. But right now, they're down by 2 points, and the Knights from Lynwood has the football.
I think they should offer a football 101 class to the cheering sections and the bands and so forth, so that the appropriate cheers and music can come at the appropriate times. You've got to have your fingers on the pulse of the sports scene if you're going to be an integral part of it. As you can see, these youngsters enjoying the action during a timeout. That would be probably a mid-range score in a test.
Okay, and that is about as clear as mud. You're well over my head on that one, Willie. All I see is some kids having a lot of fun and don't want to worry about academics at this point.
The pass complete. Couple of hits, still holding on and trying to move is James Simpson. No O. And it'll bring up 4th down and a couple. It's 4th and a couple for the Knights as James Simpson comes up short after making the grab. Again, a bad snap.
Gets off a beautiful punt, sends Durr back, and he hollers for a fair catch. And the ball rolls all the way down to the 2 or the 1.
Despite 2 bad snaps, I'll tell you what, their kicker, Arvalo, is making that snapper look good. Meanwhile, we'll look at our coverage and scores from previous week. Millikan opened it up with a win. Wilson followed that. Paramount defeating Lakewood. And then, of course, the thriller last week, Esperanza Poly. Here's Lynwood and Millikan, of course, our game this week. This is the tentative, and I remind you, tentative schedule. Lakewood at Jordan, Poly at Lakewood, Wilson Poly, Poly Jordan, Wilson at Lakewood. That is subject to change, I'll tell you now. And you can see those games 9 a.m. on Saturdays, 9:30 a.m. on Sundays. And once again, I remind you, only on Channel 3 and only if that's the game that's going to be on the schedule come next week. Because we will realign based on what we've seen during the first half of the season, because that is very important to making sure that Long Beach area sports fans get to see the best games in the area while still profiling the youngsters in this community.
Yeah, that's what basically what you really want to do during the Moore League. In the preseason, we want to give everyone a shot, even though we have not shown Jordan up at this point, but people did not anticipate Millikan would be as strong. So we are looking at including Millikan and Jordan on that schedule.
Well, of course, Jordan always a great stop for us on our Game of the Week schedule. Jordan and head coach Mike Ono, always a pleasure to their games, especially with Mike Ono's very unpredictable style of attack. His offense always imaginative. However, the schedules have not aligned properly for us to bring a game. In fact, today's game, which was originally on our schedule, and we'll watch the run again on the play as Anderson. That wasn't even a tackle, that was more like a bump down. I just think I'll hit him with my upper body and knock him over, as Greg Meloto did that. But getting back to the Jordan issue, Jordan was to play Dominguez today. That game was moved to a 4 o'clock start.
Yes, because of some unfortunate incidents that happened to some Jordan's last game. We'll talk about that later.
However, our point was that was originally on our schedule to do. So Jordan was not left off the schedule intentionally. It was just things beyond our control.
Now the Rams find themselves with their backs to the wall. They were on the 1 yard line, and they were aided by the 9th penalty or the 10th penalty by Lynwood. And now with a nice short run, they have some breathing room. Now this is a tough assignment for Jordan. They'll have to go the length of the field, literally, to get a touchdown or a field goal. And this is something they have not had to do in previous games.
1st down and 10, football at the 15. A short run turned into a little bit better run, and still not going down is DeAndre Grant. I tell you what, he's a load.
Well, he's a load, but that was poor tackling on the part of Lynwood. Everyone hit him up high, and that gave him an opportunity to keep his legs moving on that particular play, and he got a few more yards. You have to hit low and wrap, especially against a strong runner.
And for those familiar with rugby, I believe that would be called a scrum.
Yeah, it looked like rugby.
And depending on who you talk to, rugby begat somehow the game of football with its liberal American interpretation. 3:06 and ticking on the clock, 3rd quarter, as Tony Peralta eyeing his troops, hoping to get something good. He gets Gabe Anderson to break to the outside. It's a foot race Anderson won't win, but will at least get some decent yardage out of. He was caught by Deshaun Sutton, who didn't even get it into 4th gear before catching Anderson.
Anderson gets some nice blocks up front. Now watch the offensive line. They've got some pulling guards up there, and a nice cutback run by Anderson. And poor tackling, but it was a nice block to prevent some nice tackling. And Anderson turns on the speed, but number 3, Deshaun Sutton, had an angle on it.
He had an angle and a few more RPMs.
Yes, that helps.
He was moving. 1st down and 10 as the Rams now at the 46-yard line. And moving nicely, DeAndre Grant gets the football. And how about that meeting? As Grant and Moore hit each other at midfield DeAndre Grant listed at 5'10", 5'10", 250, and Jason Moore, 6 foot 230. Now they're saying that Grant.
That's incorrect.
There's no way that
he's
Grant
6
outweighs.
foot. Yeah, and plus he's taller than 6 feet.
Yeah, that's virtually sumo. Fake to Anderson on the roll. Grant's got it. And he sidesteps one would-be tackler. Gets a nice block. Down at the 21. The Knight who made the tackle is down.
And that was a great effort by the whole Millikan offense.
Watch the nimble feet on the first break of the tackle.
Now watch this nice cut back.
Then, receiver on the big guy.
Nice block there. Then he gets another nice block. These guys are blocking for each other. You know, the Millikan Rams are a new football schedule, but this is going to come back. Looks like a clip on someone.
Players down, flag on the play. We'll check it all out. Eric Slater had that big block, and the player shaking up is Jerome Dolly. Back with more in a moment. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. The Rams guilty of an ineligible receiver downfield. Beaudry trying to work his way out of trouble. Missed on 3 would-be tackles, but not the 4th, as hands offer couldn't keep his hands off of Beaudry.
Well, the linebacker really puts a lot of pressure on Beaudry. He comes from his linebacking position, and somebody didn't block him real well. Beaudry shows a lot of guts and turning and twisting, but his fate is sealed at the very end by number 11, Hans Offord. And now why should I even have to look at his number? We've talked about him all night. He's played a great game.
48 seconds and counting here in the third. 9-7 Knights. 3rd and 16 following the sack. Beaudry dropping back, looking downfield. Again, very little time. Runs out of trouble, still on his feet, but he needs a block. Didn't get it, crosses the 50. It'll bring up 4th down as he gets into Knight territory, but not by much. And here comes the punting team with 13 seconds left. And I think we'll reach the end of the 3rd quarter before they get this kick off. Here's the play again. Again, the blocking breaking down.
Well, you know, the blocking's breaking down, but the coverage by the Knights in the secondary is expert, so that Beaudry cannot find an open receiver. And they're going to have to solve that kind of problem. Beaudry is showing his athleticism, but that's the kind of plays that can get your quarterback hurt if he has to run it that often.
And of 3, it's 9-7 Knights. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. We're now through 3 quarters of play. We enter the 4th, still a 9-7, which was the halftime score. Recapping the scoring, it all began with that blocked kick that was returned 3 yards by Chris Hyde for the score at 8:32 of the first quarter. Field goal at the 2:21 mark of the first, as it's a fake and nothing there. Randy Scott wanted to give it up and just couldn't find the man, and it's going to be tough because now the Knights have it in excellent field position. He was trying to run the option to Hyde. He barely got back to the original line of scrimmage.
There was just too much penetration on the part of Lynwood.
There's a young man with his Dallas Cowboy Troy Aikman jersey and his Millikan Ram colored handkerchief adorning his noggin. 11:56 left in the ball game, as finally going down was Aragon. Aragon was in a position where the Ram defense very nearly stripped him of the ball. They somehow missed that opportunity, as see the writing on the wall, or at least the kids. Watch this play again.
It was a corner blitz, and it was a nice penetration by the Rams.
See, the two players knocked each other away. Randy Scott and Faris Alfar, Aragon made like Houdini and disappeared in between them.
At that time, Lynwood had 3 wide receivers on the left side of the field with the ball on the left hash mark, but they didn't get a chance to develop their patterns because there was too much penetration on the part of the Rams. Here comes another blitz.
In fact, this time 3 receivers on the right side with the football on the left hash. And still with it is Andrew. Andrew breaks a tackle, has some speed, breaks another, gets near a first down. The Rams nearly bottled that play up for a loss of yardage. Then Teron Andrew nearly turned it into a whole lot more the other way.
As we see 3 wide receivers, one does a fly and one does just a simple curl. Arm tackling here. That was a good hit, but he received no help from his friends, which allowed
Alex Gardner, who's the one who missed the first time, finally gets bottled up. Near tackle made by Alfred Durer. First down. That's a tough play. If that's twice now the Rams have had the Knights seemingly bottled up and have given up first down or near first down yardage. That set up the first down, that previous play. And of course that play where Aragon was in the end zone and somehow managed to find a receiver open.
Now this is a big defensive stand for the Rams. They really need to stop Lynwood right here to keep themselves within striking distance in this football game. They're only down by 2 points. Lynwood has ran the football very well and now is passing the ball well. They must come up with a good defensive stop here.
We'll take a break. It is still 9-7 Lynwood. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. First down and 10 coming up for the Knights. And with a 1-2 record, Coach Jim Chambers has not had to school his team on how to run out the clock in the fourth quarter. They've usually been on the side that's trying to provide a furious comeback. And so Coach Chambers, whose team was moving methodically down the field, maybe just a little too quickly. A slip and a fall, as I believe that would have been out of the backfield by Toslia.
Now, the Knights know that the Rams will have problems in that 3 wide receiver set, but they ran the ball off of it. They draw a lot of attention to themselves when they put 3 wide receivers, knowing that they have more speed than the Rams. Then they do a smart thing of running the football, but they come again this time with twins, or now they put a person in the slot.
Slipping free and staying on his feet, then losing the football was Deshaun Sutton, and it is the Rams football. The second effort leads to a fumble. Coming up with it was Leyland Haas.
Big play for the Rams, and they needed a defensive stop. And they got one, even though it's fine running. Anytime you go after the extra yards, you are vulnerable to fumbling the football. Now they run the football power I, and they ward off blocks, and then it was a nice hit, but he spins away from the tacklers. And then he just, number 17, Haas, strips the ball from him.
Well, he stripped it, then it rolled on the ground backwards, and it was Haas who picked it up. Great play by Leyland Haas, forcing the fumble, then recovering it. Now let's see if the Rams can capitalize. First down and 10. They've got it at the 27 with only 9:44 left in the ball game. It's Gabe Anderson. Did you see Anderson use his right arm to push away a would-be Lynwood tackler? It wasn't a straight arm as much as it was a fly swat.
Anderson wants to major in engineering when he goes to college, and he just engineered a nice run there. He's a gutsy guy. He's only 5'6", 165 pounds, but he runs big.
Timeout on the field, and it's an official's timeout. And it's just going to be a momentary stoppage as the clock once again geared up with 9:30 left.
The Rams' passing game has almost been non-existent in this football game. They've ran the football fairly well, but they've only scored on special teams.
It's Grant. He's got the first down. He's a load, and it takes a couple of nights to bring him down as he's across midfield.
Well, Tom Morgan has done an outstanding job with this offensive line that he has, and this is the first healthy game they've had since Warren, and they're looking like they're beating the Lynwood defensive line to the punch. They're quicker, and they look just as strong.
First down and 10 from the 49 of Lynwood. First and 10, give goes to Grant. Grant gets free again. He's got another first down. It's not like you can just miss him going by.
Poor tackling and good blocking initially up front. And they're really taking it to him to the ground. As I said, Willie, the passing game is non-existent. But watch the offensive line. They've got a pulling guard right there, and he blocks number 71 Moore. And after the initial block, we get some poor tackling here. He's tried to strip the football. You need to tackle the runner instead of trying to strip the football. And he goes up top again. So they really need to go low and wrap to stop these long games.
I'm impressed with his twinkle toe type moves. He shows the footwork of a much faster and spelter individual as Anderson gets the football and picks up 2 or 3.
They are keeping the ball on the ground. They're not taking any risks. They're not throwing the ball, not even throwing any little hitches. But what they're doing, Willie, is they're getting the Knights linebackers committing themselves to the run, and that's when you can open up the center of the field. And maybe they'll go up top at some point, but why go up top when you can keep it on the ground, score, and use up a lot of time off the clock and put a lot of pressure on Lynwood?
On top of that, Beaudry just doesn't have any time to throw whenever he goes back there.
He certainly doesn't.
They're
but
like,
if he could do a little play action, he might construct the linebackers and give himself more time.
Like wearing fashion jeans with no pocket. He just hasn't had a pocket to throw from. As Anderson gets to the 20 and he's got a first down.
Morgan and Peralta should be very proud of this offensive line. They're really taking it to Lynwood tonight on the ground.
Well, you mentioned before that it's their first experience playing down and that this would be a character builder. How about this effort in the closing minutes? It's still plenty of time with 7:42 left, but it is a critical point in the ball game, and they are stepping up.
Morgan says he feels like this is the best offensive line in the Moore League. Certainly the most experienced.
And Grant continues to run as he picks up 4. Grant, who went down during his first 2 runs almost immediately, has not gone down on an initial hit since then.
DeAndre Grant is really a tough runner. Just a straight power drive. He stutter steps, slips number 44 for the Knights, slips a tackle by
Isaac Iono,
and gets some yards. There's that fine offensive line. We'll start naming them pretty soon. They deserve credit.
Second down and 5. This drive has been built behind the run, and they continue to go on the ground as Anderson. He's in, or is he? I haven't seen a call yet. First down, and he's close. Unfortunately, all the touchdown signals have been given by guys wearing numbers and not stripes.
Look at the surge. Number 64 comes up with a nice wedge block, Matt Tomlin.
And he is stopped shy of the goal line. Clock ticking. This actually benefits the Rams because this leaves Lynwood with even less time in order to operate their offense and possibly another drive. I would imagine Lynwood should be able to run a quick offense, but their second shot might be that much shorter as delay of game now is called, and that's a bad move on first and goal from the doorstep. Now you're beyond the welcome mat and you're back on the walk.
It's not going to make any difference unless Lynwood's defensive line can stop the surge of the offensive line of Millikan. They can just rip off big chunks of yardage anytime they get ready. They have been keeping the Lynwood Knights on their heels and primarily going with Gabe Anderson and DeAndre Grant for the runs. Now, Gabe Anderson is from DeMille Middle School, and he was born in Hawaiian Gardens, just across the street almost.
Clock stopped at 6:17. It's a 2-point lead for the Knights. Anderson gets the football, bounces back, and is dropped. Offer there to make the tackle when he bounced back from the initial hit.
It would be a good play to call an option play, a speed option play with Beaudry. And now that you've got good runs between the tackles, you can suck the defense with a good dive play and then go with an option play and might get some easier yardage.
I think I'm right there. A tackle eligible play or something like this with Grant in the slot. Fake the dive, go for the pass. No fake. Beaudry, however, going for the corner. It's blocked away. And I think not a major mistake, but a little bit of a mistake by Jackie Lee. He set up in the corner of the end zone and would not give it up. If he had come back to the football, he might not have scored the touchdown, but he would have gotten him back to about the 1. He stopped and thus allowed the cornerback to block it at the last moment. Watch.
Nice throw on the run.
Lee is stopped. He was not coming back to the football. He was setting up in that corner. He wanted to stay in so he'd score. And thus lost the catch. And now there is a flag against the Rams, an ineligible receiver downfield. It is going to be 2nd and goal again, but now from the 10-yard line. It's 2nd and goal from the 10 as a flag was down. There was a penalty. It is 2nd and goal from the 10. And again, the run does not work. You said it wasn't going to be important. I don't think so now.
Well, yeah, the complexion of this series has changed. And the defensive line for the Lynwood Knights are really doing a better job in plugging up the holes. But they're going to probably have to not go to the center of that line, which they have been getting pretty good success on this drive, and probably run the outside.
I don't know if you saw at the tail end of that play, and I don't know if we're going to see the replay, but there was an exchange of fives by Toslia and Vladimir Hernandez, who are a defensive lineman for Lynwood and an offensive lineman for Millikan, respectively. Kind of a mutual good block acknowledgement, so to speak. As Beaudry down immediately, and it's Toslia and Hans Opper who knocked Beaudry down. And now it is a field goal situation. So the Rams stepped it up to the doorstep, just didn't get in.
Well, what happened was the Knights did what they needed to do, and that was to stop the run. And the Rams started from their own 1-foot line almost down there and drove all the way down on this particular drive. And if they can come up with 3 points here, it'll be well worth your time.
And now timeout called by Lynwood as they will attempt, in a sense, to freeze the kicking team of the Rams, and we'll take a break. 9-7 in favor of Lynwood. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. Well, 1 week ago, we were on the campus of Long Beach City College at Veterans Stadium as Esperanza came from 2 touchdowns down to upend Long Beach Poly 25-24, and now the Rams hoping a field goal can give them a 1-point lead here in the closing minutes of this game.
This is crucial. Without this field goal, it'll be very tough for the Rams.
Mark Wells on to attempt a 29-yarder. Placement kick. It's blocked. It's picked up by Weller, but Weller is not going to get past Ken Roten. And that's a huge special teams play.
There was poor blocking up front on that one.
At the beginning of the game, it was the Rams who blocked 2 punts, although one of them was nullified by a penalty of the Knights. But here in the crucial moments, it may have been Lynwood with the key block.
And right at the end, someone failed to block the outside guy. But actually, it was really a poor kick. It would have never made it.
it hit the back of one of the Rams. Let's see it again. It hit the back of one of the Rams.
Yes.
That thing wasn't high enough.
No, that wasn't going to make it anyway.
Right there, it hit the back. It hit the back helmet of the Rams, possibly the center. But there's someone on the Rams side right now wondering who's knocking on his helmet, and it wasn't intended to be that way. It may have been, however, partially tipped at the line, thus deflecting it downward.
I would be surprised if Lynwood throws the football.
Deshaun Sutton carries it 4-1. Let's take a break. 2-point lead for Lynwood. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. 3 minutes and 10 seconds left, and timeout called by the Rams as they are trying to conserve as much clock as possible in order to allow themselves an opportunity for a comeback, and Eddie Van Geis has something to say.
Along the Millikan sideline just a moment ago, you could hear a pin drop. They know the importance of this. They want to keep an unblemished record. And, hey, what can you say? A couple of big penalties down by the goal line. Right now, Millikan, they said they've got to show in this 5th game. Can they go 5-0? It's a character game. We're going to find out in just over 3 minutes if they've got that character to pull this one out at home. Let's go back to Willie and Errol.
Thank you very much, Eddie. One point that we wanted to make from the outset, but it has been a game with a lot of action in terms of a close game. It is faculty night here at Millikan High School as the players acknowledge their favorite teacher or the teacher that they need a good grade from the most, as we were jokingly saying. They honor them with a jersey. And if you've got an Algebra 2 class you need a good grade in, you're inviting them to the ball game. And on the 3rd down and 5 play, a run by Andrew. Looks like it's got a first down, although he is out of bounds.
Looked like he received that first down or earned it, and they're moving the chains. That was a big first down. We're at a 3:05, and the clock will start running as soon as they set it.
Well, he was out of bounds.
Oh, he ran out of bounds. That's right.
So as an out-of-bounds play, it should not start until it is snapped. Thus, the Rams conserve a timeout. So if you're looking for a silver lining, as my partner Errol Parker often does, that would be it. The give goes to Fa Toslia, and Millikan timeout is not going to be called, as they're going to have to wait and see what happens here. They've only got 2 timeouts left, and 2nd and 6 coming up. If the Knights get a big gain here, I would imagine the Rams will hold their timeouts, anticipating the Knights would get the first down and then use their timeouts on the next first down series. We'll have to wait and see how Coach Peralta wants to do things. Not only is this a big character test, a timeout should be called by the Rams now. Not only is this a big character test for the Rams players, but also for the coaching staff, which has not found themselves down this season, and in the early days were down by too many to consider this kind of strategy. And indeed, a timeout is called, but Kenny I signals Lynwood. I think he meant Millikan. Indeed he does. 2:16 left. We'll take a break. Welcome back, folks. We come to you from the campus of Millikan High School. It has not been a slugfest, but it has been a close one, and that's all you can ask for, is to give your team a shot at winning. And the Rams, in order to have a shot at winning, need the football back. However, their first score did not occur courtesy of their offense. It was their special teams on a block punt. Maybe that's what they need. Andrew gets the pitch, goes wide, and he's forced out of bounds. No signal from the official. He did not get the first down, equally as important. So the clock is ticking. And so on 4th and 1, 2:04 left and the clock ticking. You've already wasted too much time to use your timeout, so might as well let the clock run. It will have to stop. Let's see if it's a 25-second clock, I believe. So it should have to stop at about the 40 or 38-second mark. 1:38 left.
Now, if the Rams are smart, they'll be talking to their offense already to try to set up something in the closing seconds of this football game.
And indeed, delay of game called at 1:39 left in the fourth quarter. And that's a big play for the Rams, because if you consider the fact that on 4th and 1, Lynwood, the way they've been moving the football, could have gone for it. And if they'd gotten the first down, this game is history.
Yeah.
Instead, on 4th and 6, you have to punt. If I were Lynwood, I would have gotten my offense out there and tried to draw Millikan offside, hoping that they were going to jump the gun and get a first down cheaply, but still a first down nevertheless.
I think your point is well taken. Now they have to punt. They're going to give Millikan the football, apparently give them the football with a lot of time to play. Now they're going to come full force, I think the Rams are.
And they've had trouble with their snaps. They finally get a decent one, and Aravalo kicks it off the side of his foot. How about that? The last 3 punts by Aravalo have been one-hop snaps that he's booted in excess of 35 yards. Now he gets a decent snap, and he boots it for about 12.
As you throw your pin down 5 flights of stairs there. And
that took a hop like the punts were taking on the previous, or the snaps on the previous punts.
Now, the Rams will have to throw this football and not rely totally on their run game. And they have not had a whole lot of time to throw the football.
Well, that was just the most recent mistake, that bad punt by Aravalo, but it may be the most significant. Let's see if the Rams can take advantage. The pass is dropped by Grant, and that's possibly the best thing that could have happened on that play. Because if Grant is tackled in bounds, the time, which right now is more valuable than the yardage, would have continued to tick.
Now this time he rolls out. There's no fake here. His receivers are covered, and he tries to run and throw on the run.
Now,
yeah, he never had possession of that, and actually it was a blessing in disguise.
Now we saw that play in slow motion. The clock stopped on the delayed game at 1:39. There has been a punt, that long scramble and incomplete pass, and there's 1:31 left on the clock now. So 8 seconds have ticked off on 2 seemingly long plays. Just thought I'd point that out. Anderson's got it, cuts back, still on his feet. He's got a first down, so there'll be a momentary stop of the clock.
But I think, Willie, in order for the Rams to score, they're going to have to throw the football in the end zone. I just don't think that the Knights are going to allow them to grind it out in on the last 25 yards. But, you know, weirder things have happened because they've been running the football pretty well.
First down and 10. Again, the give, this time to Grant. He's still on his feet. He's inside the 15. What a run by Grant, another first down.
Yeah, DeAndre Grant is just really being the tough runner tonight as they move the change and the clock is stopped. The Rams seem to be in pretty good shape. I really still think that they're going to have to throw the football in the end zone to score.
How bad do you want it? We're going to find out. Clock ticking, 1:09 left. 2-point lead. It's a quarterback draw. He's up the middle. Touchdown, Rams. Look at the sideline of the Rams. It's going crazy. If we could get the Millikan bench, they're going crazy.
That was a beautiful call. A quarterback draw right up the gut. And no one even touched him until he got to maybe to about the 1 or 2 yard line. Beaudry can really run the football, and he's been running it all night, really running for his life. And that time he faded back like he was going to throw the football, and he had a big hole right up the gut, and he scored.
I asked, how bad do you want it? That's how bad the Rams wanted it. And their quarterback, Beaudry, delivers. Now going for 2, smart play. It's Beaudry again. He'll sneak over the line. No call yet. Yes, the 2 is good. It's a 6-point lead. And now the clock's running.
Well, now we're looking again at the quarterback draw, and he goes right up the middle. Now he's really not even touched until maybe about the 1 yard line, and they try to strip the ball, but he gets in there clearly.
Chris Kinder, the athletic director here at Millikan, running the clock. Interesting. In fact, Kenny I is coming over to talk to him now.
Is he going to put some time back on that
And that's
clock?
a good call by Kenny I. Let's take a break. We'll talk about that more in a moment. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. It's Back to the Future as 3 seconds have been returned to the game clock, 1 minute left. And granted, that may have just been a slip of the finger at an exciting moment on the sideline of Millikan. But I had pointed out what seemed to be a very short clock when the Rams needed the clock in their favor, and suddenly when they get on the board and get the go-ahead score, it seemed to be fast and loose. But it is corrected by Kenny I, the referee, and possibly and most likely an innocent faux pas, as the Rams have scored the go-ahead touchdown, and then almost equally as important, a 2-point conversion that makes it a 6-point difference, meaning that should Lynwood get a touchdown, they would still have to convert to win.
Now this is very important. Lynwood have some outstanding speed, and do you kick it to them, kick it in the end zone if you can, or squib it? You don't want to give them too good field position on this drive. You want to make them go as long as possible.
Well, I think there's no doubt you squib it.
I don't know. You don't want to give them. Lynwood's a big play team. You don't want to really give them good field position.
Well, they can also get a big play on the kickoff, and it's a line drive kick. The first time I believe that a kickoff has not gone in the end zone. It's a reverse to Jesse Barfield. Barfield trying to get to the corner instead, gets to the 39, and is there a flag? That appeared to be a late hit by Durr, but Barfield may have been in bounds, but he looked out of bounds. That would have been out of bounds in Canada.
Okay, he kicks it and he gets it on ball on about the 11-yard line, and it's a reverse. Smart play to run at this juncture in the game. Now the blocking is pretty good, but he doesn't get as much as they would really like on this play, and we'll see whether it's a late hit or not.
The key is he out of bounds? Right here, I believe he's out. I'm not sure. I can't see the sideline.
No, he's not out. If you look at the sidelines,
Okay.
He was not out. That was a good, clean hit.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. That's taking full advantage of the rules. As the pass is complete, first down.
Beautiful catch and beautiful throw and good protection by the Knights. The clock is running. We only have, well, they changed the change, so it's only 46 seconds left. Now, the Rams are probably in a prevent defense, and they're going to give them a little cushion because they don't want a big play.
But as any fan of football knows, a prevent defense rarely prevents anything. First and 10, 44 on the clock. Rolling, Aragon breaks free. He's going down the sideline, and he throws it out of bounds. He was trying to get it in the hands of his intended receiver downfield, Jerome Dolly. It was Dolly or out of bounds, and it instead falls out of bounds. Clock stops with 36 seconds left.
Talking to Coach Chambers, he said he was very excited about this football game. It has been a very exciting football game. The Rams seemed like they were almost dead there, and they came back and scored to go ahead in the football game. Now the Knights are forced to come from behind, much as they did last year to defeat the Rams. They'll have to pull out a near miracle here. But they are in Ram territory on the 48.
Aragon over the middle of the field, in and out of the hands of the intended receiver. So despite a little bumping by the defensive back, Haas, the pass goes in and out of the hands of Kenny Roger. Well, Roger should have caught that despite the bump. It was not, it looked to be incidental contact.
Oh, it was definitely incidental contact. He really should have had the football. He was open in the middle of the field.
And that goes back to how bad do you want it? That's when you got to come up with it.
You have to come up with it. That would have been a big catch. It would have been a first down, and it would have stopped the clock.
It did stop the clock because it was incomplete, but in a much better circumstance because it would have been a first down. But we've all seen, as it's now 3rd down and 10, Knights have to be concerned about getting a first down in order to continue the drive. Otherwise, they're down to 2 plays left, regardless of how much time's on the clock. There's 1 timeout left on both sides. Another nail biter.
3 receivers at the wide side, on the wide side of the field.
Aragon's got a man. It's caught by Barfield, then he drops it. Barfield had it, then could not hold on as he was jarred by a couple of Rams.
Really nice protection
It was a little
by
high.
Aragon. Yeah, it was. He had to go up. He had the ball in his hands. He comes down with it. He turns. He might have had control of that football, but of course we were screened out. It could have been a fumble.
Now it's 4th down and 10.
This is it. They have to get a first down.
Right. The score is important, but it's secondary to continuing the drive. The rest of the game means nothing
pump
without a
fake.
first down. Aragon just letting it fly down the center of the field. It's incomplete, and the Rams are going to win it. 19 seconds left. If the Rams can successfully execute a snap, it's over.
Well, what a game. We have seen two exciting games in the last 2 Fridays here in Long Beach. Poly losing, coming up in the short end against Esperanza. This time the Rams apparently will beat Lynwood for the first time in a long time. Last year they lost a heartbreaker. They're 19 seconds away from gaining a come-from-behind victory and going into Moore League undefeated.
And of course, our fans at home on 2 consecutive Saturdays are able to watch 2 exciting games in a row.
That's what it's all about.
Or Sunday, pick your pleasure. As the snap, a good one, and the Rams are going to run out the clock and are going to come away with an exciting 6-point win made possible by Dan Beaudry's quarterback option draw touchdown run with a minute left. What a way for the Rams to come from behind. That shows character, and that shows the only undefeated team in the Moore League at the end of non-league play as the Millikan Rams 5-0 with Moore League play coming up. That's exciting.
Well, my theory is intact. The team that made the less errors did win, although it did not look like it was going to happen that way. I think the Knights had about 11 or 12 penalties in the football game and other numerous mistakes. The Rams came up with some tiny mistakes, but they hung on to win 15-9. Very exciting.
Well, in this case, it may not have been so much who made the least amount of mistakes as much as who made the last mistake. And it was the Knights who had that bad punt that set up the touchdown run. We'll take a break, then we'll be back to wrap it up. Stay with us. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. Eddie Van Geist standing by with Tony Peralta.
Coach Tony Peralta, your Millikan Rams. What a great victory tonight. You remember last year, 365 days ago, when you lost in the last minute to Lynwood, and here you go ahead with 53 seconds ago. What's that feel like, Coach?
I tell you, deja vu. I tell you, I'm looking at the scoreboard, I'm looking at the clock. They hit a couple of plays right off the bat, and we really had a gut check tonight.
You did. It was a character builder, and coming into this game, you even said, yeah, we're going to find out what kind of character we have. I guess you showed you have a whole lot of character.
Well, you know, we went in at halftime, and we talked about we've never been in this situation before, and it's tough, but that opens up a great way to respond. It opens up a door that we haven't been through yet, and we needed to prove to ourselves that we can come from behind and hold somebody back from the things that we talked about. I tell you, it was, I couldn't be more pleased right now.
What do you tell the kids right now? You're 5-0, going into Moore League action next week against Wilson. What's going to be your speech?
I tell the kids, get a haircut and shave again, because we're starting the game. We're starting our season all over. And that's kind of a thing that we do to signify a new beginning. And we'll enjoy this tonight, but I tell you, the Bruins are going to bring a lot to the table, and we need to do a lot to stop them and to beat those guys.
All right, Tony, good luck next week, and what a great start you've got going, 5-0.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, Coach Tony Peralta, the spirit here, the people and the fans, oh, it was amazing. You could just feel it. I had goosebumps on my body, the kind of goosebumps I like. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, Eddie, we'll be back to wrap it up in just a moment. Stay with us on our Long Beach High School football game of the week. Once again, the final, Rams beat the Knights 15-9.